All right, guys, how's it going? So here we are again with another episode of Golazo España. Yeah, I've been to the cafe and I have reviewed today's Spanish football dailies for you. I'm going to work through what's in these papers in a moment with you. How are you doing? You all right? Please thumbs up my video and drop me a comment. Nobody left me a comment yesterday. You watched the videos. I felt a bit lonely on here yesterday. So we're going to talk about what's what in Spain. I don't know if you saw this game last night, Real Madrid and Real Sociedad in the Copa del Rey semi-final second leg. What a game. Real Sociedad put up such a fight, but they lost, and Real Madrid progressed. So I have got my notes here. Now, I did not sleep last night at all. I'm absolutely shattered. And you know me, I get stuck on my notes and confused sometimes. I reviewed the papers at about 7 in the morning. And I didn't sleep last night, so let's see if I can get through them without making any mistakes, right? So, what we're going to start with MARCA, the headline, crazy, if you like, or madness, in relation to last night's 4-4 draw in the Copa del Rey semi-finals, second leg. Real Madrid went through, obviously, on aggregate. They had that slight lead from the first leg. The sub-headlines, if you like, the content around it there, Madrid reached the final after coming back from 3 different deficits against Real Sociedad. Rudiger made it 4-4 in the 115th minute with a heroic header from a corner delivered by Gula. A brilliant Real Sociedad performance at the Bernabéu. Oyarzabal forced extra time with a goal in the 92nd minute. What's up at the top bar up here? Guaranteed spectacle. This is in relation to this evening's game, the final clash of the season between Atlético and Barca, with a place in the final on the line. That gets underway at 9:30 local time, 8:30 UK. That game last night, when you think about it, went into extra time and all that. It was like middle at night. It's mental, innit? I was sat loud at knackered. All I kept thinking was, God, imagine if you'd been at that game and you were having to travel afterwards. It's fucked up in Spain, I tell you. So, yeah, Atlético versus Barcelona is the other semi-final this evening. That promises to be a spectacular, guaranteed, they say. At the bottom of the page, as I mentioned to Las Palmas goalkeeper Jasper Cillessen, who has undergone successful surgery for a perforated small intestine he sustained in a collision. We'll move on to AS, as I like to pronounce it. Headline, The Guardian Angel we have here. Rudiger, like at the Etihad and the Metropolitano, sends Madrid to the final with a header in the 115th minute. Madrid came back from 3-1 down with 10 minutes to go, guys. Oh dear. Oyarzabal forced extra time in a beautifully chaotic match. What a description that is, eh? Ancelotti is quoted as saying, "We never give up." That's on the front page as well. Up at the top here, we have Cholo's Bullet Flicks Prize. That's in relation to tonight's World Cup semi-final, of course. Now, Cholo, I knew that this was his nickname, Simeone's nickname, but I didn't understand the background of it. So I've researched it just to teach you a little bit, you know what I mean? Listen, I'm not patronising you, I was teaching myself. I thought you might find it interesting. And Cholo, the nickname dates back to when Simeone was still a player in Argentina. It's not something he coined for himself or anything. It was actually inherited. There was an older Argentine player called Carmelo Simeone, no relation, who played in the 60s, and he was nicknamed Cholo. When young Diego started making a name for himself on the pitch in Buenos Aires, people said his style was reminiscent of the original Cholo, gritty, aggressive, full of flight. So the flight. So the nickname got passed down to him like a badge of honor. And what does Cholo mean generally? All right. Now I was like, I thought that was an insult, that name, because you know what I mean. But let me explain. Now, generally in Spanish, right, or Latin American slang, Cholo can have a different meaning depending on the country. In some places, it can mean mixed race or refer to indigenous heritage. In others, it can have rough, even gangster-like connotations. But in Argentina and football circles, it's more like, a tough guy, street smart fighter, someone you want in the trenches with you. Do you know what I mean? So when people call him El Cholo, it's with respect. It's part warrior, part cult hero. Yeah, I like that. Do you know what I mean? I think that's cool. I love learning stuff, mate. I don't know if it's an age thing, as I get older. I don't know. When I was younger, I'd be like, I'm not really interested in his nickname. I love shit like that. Don't know, do you? Let me know. If you don't, I'll avoid it in future. But listen, if you're sat in a boozer next time with your mates and someone mentions it, you can tell them you'll be like, I know why it's called that. Anyway, so what else is there? The sub-headline text with that is Atlético played their only realistic shot at a trophy. Obviously, they've fallen away in the La Liga race, and Barca aim to reach a final that validates their style. Rafinha, referring to the... oh my gosh, I told you I was tired. Returning to the starting 11, relives his battle against Argentina. And at the bottom of the page, it's the Sillerson undergoes surgery for that intestinal perforation. Moving on. Those were the two Real Madrid newspapers. So we're now moving on to Sport, one of the pro Barcelona newspapers, with the headline agonising. For them it was, no doubt about it. So sub-headline, a final to reach the final, which is talking about tonight's game. Barca play at the Metropolitano, looking to stay on course for the treble after a 4-4 draw in the first leg. Now, the main article under the headline, Real Madrid needed extra time to draw level with the tie and book their place in the Copa del Rey final. Rudiger scored in the 115th minute, Madrid's fourth goal to cap off a crazy match against a very combative Real Sociedad. Now, down at the bottom here, I don't know if you can see these little bits at the bottom there. That's touching on the Premier League. Haaland will be out for 5 to 7 weeks. And it's touching on... what else is it touching on? Manchester City versus Leicester. Also, what else have we got? Down here, Espanyol. That's about their fight for survival. 10 finals in 2 nerve-wracking months, it says. Now, moving on to Mundo Deportivo, which is the other pro-Barcelona newspaper, if you will. It's a final. An Atleti side going all in on the Copa and informed Barca looking for a place in La Cartuja, which is where the final is being held. Again, I had to research this. Now, it says La Cartuja is a multi-purpose stadium located in Seville, Spain. It is not the permanent home of any football team. It has been used by both of the city's major clubs, Sevilla FC and Real Betis, for special matches or during renovations of their regular stadiums. For instance, Real Betis will be using that stadium starting in the summer of 2025, while renovations are underway at their Benito Villamarín Stadium. Also, some of the blurbs somewhere on the screen here. Flick understands the importance of the match and must choose between Javi and Fermin as the attacking midfielder. Bottom left. What we got in the bottom left? Real Madrid, it says here. Rudiger saves Madrid in extra time. Rudiger and teammates. Wild semi-final at the Bernabéu with 5 goals in 21 minutes from the 72nd to the 93rd minute. Now, I'm just going to leave it on this article here, which I found very interesting when I was in the cafe this morning. We're not going to read it. We're just going to look at it. I bet you'd rather look at her than me, wouldn't you? Do you know what? I might start getting into women's football, me. Anyway, right, so inside Marca, other than going over the madness of last night's game, they cast an eye over tonight's other semi-final. And they write that Simeone will stick to his guns and will count on Juan Musso in goal. Now, the Argentine, on loan from Serie A side Atalanta, is the goalkeeper for the Copa del Rey. And despite being eliminated for the Champions League and falling far short of the league title, the plan won't change. Thus, there's no doubt that the team he fields against Barcelona will include the former Atalanta player and 10 others. Is he a former Atalanta player if he's on loan? That's what it says here. Additionally, Rafinha and Kubasi will return to the starting lineup tonight. The Brazilian international did not play against Girona because he was exhausted after his 2 matches with his national team and the overseas trip. He trained normally on Monday and yesterday, and Hansi Flick admitted that he is now recovered and ready to play. The Girona centre-back, meanwhile, will also start today, having fully recovered from the anterior tibiofibular ligament strain in his right ankle that he suffered in Spain's first match against the Netherlands. Barcelona's big doubt for the Copa del Rey semi-final clash at the Metropolitano lies in the attacking midfield. Dani Olmo's injury leaves it unclear who will occupy the playmaker role. Gavi and Fermin Lopez are the players most likely to move behind Robert Lewandowski in this tie. Sorry, I thought I heard my doorbell go. Okay, staying with Marca, they write that Celta Vigo wants to renew Alfon's contract, which expires in June. This was made official by their director of football, Marco Garces, last week. However, the Vigo club has encountered interest from Sevilla in signing him. In fact, the Seville club is ahead of the Vigo club when it comes to signing the player for the upcoming seasons. Celta Vigo didn't submit a firm offer to the players' agents until last week, convinced they would easily reach an agreement. However, Sevilla had already made significant progress in negotiations with a player with whom, under FIFA regulations, can enter into talks when his contract expires on June 30th. It's important to remember, of course, any club can negotiate with a player whose contract expires on January 1st. Marca have a small piece on the new Mestalla Stadium, home of Valencia. There's no visible progress there, right? No much movement in the construction of the new Mestalla, which Valencia claims is moving ahead of schedule. The club assures that the tests on the already built concrete structure have yielded positive results and interior architectural work has begun, and it says scheduled for May. Now, from what I understand, because I had to do a bit of digging, construction first kicked off back in 2007, aiming for a 80,000 seat stadium. I think it's going to be a little bit less. But as with many grand plans, financial hiccups led to a pause in 2009. Fast forward to now, and it would appear that the Valencian sun is finally shining on the project again, with construction resuming after a 16-year hiatus. 2027 is when they say they will be ready. Don't know about that. Right, AS, they report that Tottenham have an advantage with regards Real Betis defensive midfielder Johnny Cardoso, should they wish to make an attempt to sign him. The 23-year-old has established himself as one of the most fashionable midfielders in this league after a series of remarkable performances and a brilliant display in the derby against Sevilla, and this has obviously seen him gain attention in La Liga and the Premier League. Spurs secured a first refusal option on the midfielder when they sold Giovanni Lo Celso to Real Betis last year, which would enable them to snap him up for around £20 million. There's no suggestion that they have gone in for him. They're just saying that they've got the advantage. And I was looking at some of the social media posts by Tottenham fans, and they were saying, please, can we go for this lad? So not really sure what's going on at Spurs, to be honest with you, but Tottenham fans seem to have been alerted to him, and I think they like the sound of him. Now, Sport write that the Alves case may not be solved until almost 2028. We've touched on that before, haven't we? The Alves case involving former footballer Dani Alves will likely not be resolved until 2028. He was acquitted of sexual assault charges related to an incident in a nightclub bathroom in Barcelona in December 2022. Both the prosecution and the victim are considering appeals to the Supreme Court, but these won't be addressed until at least the end of 2027. The legal complexities, including the difficulty of overturning the court's ruling and established legal principles on the credibility of victims, mean the case will take time. The victim's defence is ready to appeal, though they are weighing the emotional toll on the young woman, while the prosecution is still deciding whether to proceed. Now, finally, we are with Mundo Deportivo. I found something there that might interest you, maybe if you're a Liverpool fan. There's nothing really about Liverpool, though, but it is about former Liverpool star Luis Suarez. And it's about an interview he's given. It's focusing on Barcelona, their coverage of the interview, obviously with them being a pro-Barca publication. It's not that one. Sorry, I just wanted to point at her. They say Suarez praised the current Barcelona team under Hansi Flick, particularly highlighting Pedri and Lamine Yamal as exceptional players. And Suarez, who now plays for Inter Miami, does anybody watch that football out there at all in Europe? Does anybody watch it? Maybe even if you're in America, do you watch it? I've never watched it. I did have season tickets for New York City years ago, 4 of them. You know, I was planning on going out there, but yeah. Anyway, so he plays for Inter Miami, and he also noted the importance of Rafinha and Lewandowski. Reflecting on his own departure from Barcelona in 2020, Suarez mentioned that while it was difficult to leave, he holds no grudges. So there you go, guys. That is my roundup for you today with the latest in the Spanish football dailies. So if you appreciate my effort it took a while to do all that. Yeah, look, she's right here, isn't she? I've not read that yet, but I'm going to have a nosy. I might print that out. If you appreciate my effort, please thumbs up the video. Please drop me a comment, just let me know that you're enjoying the video. Because if you're not, if you're like, nah, I'm not bothered, I'll just sack it on the edge. It's no odds to me. But I enjoy doing it over on the other channel on Cop Talk. Do you know what I mean? Like doing the Liverpool stuff. And then people over there say, oh, I really like the Spanish papers, Dunk. I'd like you to tell us a bit more. So that's what I'm doing. But I can't put these videos on over there because then you get people saying, this is nothing to do with Liverpool. So here you go. Golazo España. Thumbs up and drop me a comment, guys. You can't buy me a coffee on here because there's no monetization. There's some links in the video description, though. But I'd really like to get a thumbs up and a comment. And, I'm going to try and get, give you the best that I can. I'm going to try my best, all right? There's a lot of stuff to go through, and I'm just trying to pick the bits that I think you might like. All right? Let me know how I'm doing. I'm sure it'll get better. It might get worse. Hey, I didn't do too bad considering I hadn't slept. What do you think? I mean, I usually stumble on my words a little bit, but anyway. All right, guys. I'll speak to you in a bit. Hopefully, we'll touch base tomorrow. I think that'll be a cracking game tonight if you get a chance to watch it. If your mate's got one of them dodgy sticks, them dodgy dongles, IPTV or whatever, tell her to look at liveonsat.com and that'll list the channels that it's on tonight. All right, guys, see you in a bit. All right.